Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all, y'all rocking with me. For this video, I'm gonna be taking y'all back to one of my prison stories from when I was inside of the Florida Department of Corrections. Now, in 2014 to 2015, I was at the Apalachee Correctional Institution. And if you've been rocking with the channel, you know what time it is with Apalachee. This was the Grand Theft Auto of prisons when I was there. Murders, rapes, robberies, extortion at an all-time high. It was the biggest hustle on the compound. Everything was going down. This was the jungle. I was in a cell with an American Nazi showing me this little knife he got. Next day, puts it inside of somebody's neck at center gate in front of the inmates, the nurses, the classification, and the COs. Buddy leaked out on the ground. The sun cooked his blood into the concrete. When we came out of chow, they were pressure washing the blood off of the concrete. You could see the pink mist just spraying off as they cleaned up the crime scene. Apalachee was wild as hell. Helicopters touching down, ambulances driving up onto the rec yard because somebody just got took out of there. It was a wild spot to be at. Aside from all the inmate on inmate violence, the COs were on another level too. They weren't as hands-on as the JIT camps, the youth offender prisons, 14 to 24, where we're all getting beat. I mean, I seen one of my brothers handcuffed behind his back, held down on the floor, and just pummeled by 2 to 3 other COs, grown-ass men, 25, 35, 45. They put their heavy-duty work gloves on and just started beating the shit out of him. His face was swollen. I mean, his cheek was off his damn cheek. He looked like he got hit with a bat. And that was one of the hottest things I saw in prison because he was crying as he was being beaten. And I could do nothing but listen to it. Apalachee, there was incidents of violence with the COs. One major one happened when I got out of prison. A black male married a white woman at the prison. The captain took him into the captain's office. They beat him to the point that he was unrecognizable just because of the fact he was marrying a white woman. And that captain actually went to prison for that beating. But one of the nastiest COs I came across inside of prison, I'm gonna be telling the story about how she tried to set me up. And this is a she, not even a he. The thing about the female COs, they're master manipulators. They will do dirty shit without ever having to get their hands dirty. The thing about it is it's almost like they play victim. If you piss one of them off, no matter how disrespectful they are to you, and they all got mouths, if you piss one of them off, they'll write you up saying that you did something sexually, disrespectfully, violent, you tried to swing at them, whatever it is, just because they know it's gonna rile up the male staff on the compound. And they're gonna take it out on you, especially if she's related to somebody that works at that prison like most of these females are. You gotta understand, some of these officers and sergeants are the nieces and daughters of the captains, wardens, etc. You fuck with one of them, the prison is gonna come down on you. And what'll happen is they'll cuff you up, they'll take you to confinement, they'll beat the fuck out of you in the little barber shop where they usually have DI court. They'll put you in the cell, they'll gash the shit out of you, they'll buck you on the food trays or pour bleach on your food. Whatever dirty game they try to do, they're gonna do it. If you're small, they'll put somebody big in the cell and tell them that they're gonna give them extra trays just to whoop your ass. And you best believe there are inmates that are willing to do it. Now, this specific CO, she was working inside of I dorm. This was the only dorm I was in at Apalachee. I-4 was the quad that I was in. This whole dorm was closed custody, meaning you had to rack up your DIs, your disciplinary reports, just to be placed in here. If you just came to prison, you're good and all that shit, you're not gonna get put inside of I dorm. I-1 was full of guys that had MIPs, murders inside of prison, meaning they killed someone since they've been in prison, and guys that just got off of death row, got resentenced to life. So you got a lot of crazy ass motherfuckers inside of I-1. I mean, they're fucking boys, everything. Like, they just don't care. The majority of I dorm itself had life sentences. Being inside of there with less than a year left, it was intimidating, but at the same time, I didn't expect anything less. I didn't expect a sweet ride. I didn't have one in prison. Everywhere I went to was on that. And to be honest, Apalachee was a step down from the youth offender prisons. I was able to get my GED at Apalachee. I was able to lay back. I was least violent at Apalachee Correctional. But this fucking CO would go out of her way to bother people to the point that it was unavoidable. It was a matter of just, when is she gonna try you? There was a guy inside of my dorm, he was from Quincy, Florida. He went and shot somebody, killed him. That dude's brother came back and blew his fucking arm off with an AK-47. It got knocked off from the elbow down, his arm got infected, the doctor had to cut it from his shoulder. He was inside of our dorm. He had respect. He was a strong dude in the one arm that he had. He was the arm wrestling champion inside of the dorm. And he would fight with one arm. He'd put it up, he'd throw his nub at you, pump fake, and then hit you with the left. This CO decided that she was gonna fuck with him in the chow line. On the way to chow, we gotta line up, saying that his boots weren't tied. Inmate, tie your boots. I can't, I got one arm. She said, I don't give a fuck, have someone else do it for you. And in that moment, what she was trying to do, she was trying to degrade him and use his disability, if you want to call it that, against him. She wanted to make him feel less than a man by having another man tie his boots. But no other COs used to bother him about this because it was obvious. She just wanted to try him for whatever reason it was. So he refused. He wasn't going to have another inmate tie his boots for him. Not that we weren't willing to help. I would have helped him just off of some convict struggling shit. You know what I'm saying? Why not? He's got one fucking arm. But more or less and metaphorically, he didn't want another man wiping his ass. He had pride. And for that, he was taken to confinement. She told him to cuff up. He said, how the fuck am I going to cuff up? I got one arm. I never seen him again. He went to confinement. That was it. This lady would stand on the outside of the salad port, outside of the booth. She would lock us in as we're about to go to chow. She locks the bars. We're about to go eat, and she would openly fart and burp in front of all of us. Just, she didn't care. She had no self-respect. And that shit that she did with the man that had one arm, she wouldn't have done that in public. Because somebody could have pulled out their phone and showed what a disrespectful bitch she really was. But the fact that this isn't society, this is a gated community with barbed wire fences where she could be who she really was. You know, they got a saying for inmates, when you go to jail, you can be all you can be. You can make up this, you can say you were getting money, you were acting like a killer, whatever. It's the same thing for the COs, except it's not about a facade that they put on. When they work inside of the prison, they take that mask off. And you get to see who they really are. Now on a separate day, I was going to chow. I got caught talking in the line. So she takes my ID. And to me, I'm thinking I'm gonna get a disciplinary report for whatever it is, refusing to obey a command or whatever. I don't think she's gonna write up anything too crazy because it's not like I disrespected her. She said, give her the ID, I give her the ID. I come back from chow. Mind you, I got lucky because if you go to chow without an ID and the CO sees it, they'll make you stand out in the grass and you'll either eat last or you won't eat at all, and you gotta push a push lawnmower around while everyone else is eating, and then you get sent back to your dorm. But I was able to hide behind people and position my body to where the COs wouldn't be able to see, you know, my ID tag. I was able to eat. I come back, I try to get my ID. She says no, tells me to go back to the dorm because she's sitting outside of a little bench area as we walk back. Now this was last chow, this was dinner. And after dinner is shift change. So when she comes back in and she goes up into the booth, we're gonna get locked back down. They're gonna start, you know, doing the little shift change, whatever, packing their shit up. New people come in, they do a count, they let us back out. But I'm trying to get my ID beforehand. If she's gonna write me up, she's gonna write me up. I get my ID back. So I'm waiting, you know, somewhat by the door for her to come back in. And this black dude comes in and he starts, you know, yelling through the door. I was somewhat by the TV area, so he starts yelling through, calling for me, and everything's loud right now, so someone else goes up and listens to him. They call my name. I see him. This guy, I only know him from being on the dip bars and the pull-up bars. Me, Bimba, we used to see this dude out there, older black dude, been down like 20, 35 years. If you've ever seen those prison movies where there's a black dude, but it's almost like he's the prison guard's do boy. Like he'll have the shotgun and tell another inmate not to cross that line, even though he's not a staff member, he's an inmate. He was that type of guy. He would go out of his way to help the COs and do anything the COs needed because he been down so fucking long. His parents are dirt. They've been dirt and sand for the past, 10, 20 years. Like, he's old, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody fucking emailing him, sending him money and sending him pictures and shit. So the only money he gets is off the land. He gotta move his feet. He gotta hustle however he can. And he tries to get in with the COs. That's the route that he takes. So he calls my name. I go up to the door when dude gets me. And he's got my ID and he tries to slide it through. I put my hand on it, but he doesn't let go. And he said, hey, bruh, she gave me your ID. She told me you had money on your card and she told me not to tell you to keep the ID so I can hit for canteen tomorrow. But I ain't gonna do you like that though, bruh. You know what I'm saying? So here's your ID. He lets go. He's like, just look out for me if you can. At first, I'm like, all right, yeah, bet that up, bruh. But then I start thinking about it. I don't doubt that she would try to set me up like that. And the thing about it is, your ID tag is your fucking debit card. Anyone that sends you money, it goes to your ID tag. It used to be a big thing in the JIT camp because when you're in confinement, they put your ID tag on the door outside of the door. If you got one of the orderlies in there and he knows you got money on your card, they'll take your card and go hit canteen off of your shit. If you know someone that's soft as fuck in the dorm, somebody steals their ID or just takes it from them, they can go and swipe their card. If they know the canteen man, and the canteen man will do it because he'll see the picture isn't yours. But if that's your boy, you throw him $10, $15, $20 if you want to force it. He takes the money, you hit for $100 and just empty out the whole card. So dude gave me the card back. And I'm thinking I wouldn't doubt that she would set me up like that. But at the same time, how do I know she wasn't just giving it to him, telling him to give it back to me? Or he could have volunteered, like, oh, I know him, he's in my dorm, I can give it to him. All right, inmate, just gives it to him because she's a lazy bitch. And now he tries to finesse the situation just so he can get some money out of it. Hey, bro, she told me to hit your card, but I wasn't gonna do it. So now I'm thinking, it wouldn't be nothing to throw him like $5 or something. But I'm thinking to myself, ain't shit free in prison. And I don't ever like feeling tried, especially being white inside of prison. People try to take advantage of you first quarter. Any of that friendly shit, you gotta shut it down. My first time hitting canteen at Apalachee, I hit for $100 sack. When I came back to the dorm, my brothers that I haven't even spoke to yet, bloods that I didn't even know by name, were on the door in I-3 and I-1. Oh, what's up, blood? What's poppin', bitch? Yo, hey, shoot me something. I'm hungry, bro. I'm like, man, fuck y'all. I don't know who the fuck y'all is, but I ain't for none of that. I ain't for none of that. Now let it be known with everybody, man, listen. You ain't finna play me because I don't know what time it is. I don't know what time it is with them. I don't know where their mind's at. I don't know if they embrace a white blood or if they gonna be tripping, if they gonna try to play under me, but I ain't for none of that. So if you don't embrace me, let it be known and we gonna handle that because I ain't feeding, I ain't looking out, none of that shit. Fuck you. If you ain't one of my close brothers, then it ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't nothing though. It was respect at the end of the day and everybody understood where the fuck I was at and where my mind was at. But I never liked feeling tried and I felt like this old black dude was trying me. He was trying to pull something off. Day goes by. He's like a little orderly or whatever, so he's around in the booth all the time outside of the main quads. So he comes to my quad window, bum, 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 hey, what's up with that, da-da-da. I'm like, man, it ain't nothing, bro. It ain't nothing. He's like, what you mean? I'm like, man, it ain't nothing. He ain't getting nothing. So he goes back to I-2 and speaks to my brothers in I-2, telling them, oh, yeah. And I did a video about my brother that he spoke to, my brother Suge. Shout out to Suge, man, free Suge. But he goes and speaks to Suge. He's like, man, what's up with your brother, man? He said he was going to hook me up with like $5, $10. I gave him the card back. So Suge comes out. The orderly, he gets the door popped so Suge can come out and pretend to get a fucking ibuprofen from the booth. And Suge's like, hey, man, what's up? He's like texting me, sign language and shit. He's like, what's up? You was finna pay this dude? I'm like, man, fuck him. So Suge tells him straight like that, man, fuck you. If you feel some type of way, get there. And the old dude, he wasn't gonna do shit. I highly doubt just because of me. He wasn't gonna do shit because he knew my brothers are gonna rock with me and behind me. If it was just me, this motherfucker was huge, way bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? Just in hands, he would have smashed me. Knife play, he been down 20, 30 years. I'm sure he's been slanging knives longer than me. And this situation right here could have got me killed, could have got me beat. And this situation right here could have been manipulated completely by this female CO. Not doing her fucking job, getting the ID off of me and giving it to a random inmate. Whether she set me up intentionally or whether she just wanted to be fucking lazy, it could have created a deadly situation where I could have lost my life. And I could have paid him the $5, I could have paid him the 10. But inside, I would have felt like I got played. If I have to second guess something, or go to another person and be like, hey bro, let me lay this out for you. What do you think about this? Man, that sounds funny, right? It sounds funny. I don't wanna make any decision that I'm gonna regret. So I stood by it. Fuck him, fuck her. Situation never went anywhere, it never went to violence. Me and dude never spoke. We'd still be on the push-up buys, the dip buys, the pull-up buys. We didn't say too much. We just kept it short, we kept it moving. The paranoia that comes with it. Knowing that while I'm on this dip buy or pulling up on this pull-up buy, he could come up behind me and put something inside of my stomach, and when I jump back down, laying down, that shit goes even further in because now my body is hitting the ground. The paranoia that can come with these situations, the paranoia that you live with on a day-by-day basis, this is why I'm glad I'm no longer in prison. And instead, I get to reflect on these things and tell these stories and share them with y'all on YouTube. But hey, it's 1090J. I'm rocking with y'all, y'all rocking with me. Till next time.